The Open Public Meetings Law of New Jersey. Notice of this May 18th, 2026 meeting of the Millburn Township Board of Education was posted electronically on the district website and provided on January 12th, 2026 by sending notices to the Millburn Short Hills Item, the Star Ledger, the Millburn Short Hills Independent Press, and the Township Clerk, along with posting at the Education Center. Please join me to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. May I have a motion and a second for the organizational appointments and finance motions 1A through 1K and 2A through 2E? Mr. Lawrence, Mr. Farashudin, any questions or comments? All right, Mr. Stars, roll call, please.
Mr. Farashudin?
Yes.
Ms. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Longley Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Bigman?
Yes.
Mr. Casson?
Yes.
Ms. Shivani?
Yes.
Ms. Speltz?
Yes.
Motion passed.
May I have a motion and a second to approve the following BOE minutes? Mr. Bigman? Ms. Shivani? Any questions or comments? Thank you. Mr. Stars, roll call, please.
Ms. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Longley Richards?
Abstain on number 1, I wasn't present, and yes to 2 and 3.
Mr. Bigman?
Yes.
Mr. Casson?
Yes.
Mr. Farashudin?
Yes.
Ms. Shivani?
Yes.
Ms. Speltz?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Dr. Diskin, would you like to introduce our presentation for tonight?
Sorry. Yes, tonight I would like to invite up both Ms. Jennifer Soa and Ms. Patricia O'Gorman to come on up. Tonight they are presenting together the health and wellness. Every year we are delighted to have Ms. O'Gorman come and talk a little bit about how we support social emotional health and well-being. And with that, I'm going to let Ms. Soa introduce, and thank you so much for coming tonight.
At this time, I'd like to introduce our district wellness coordinator, Patricia O'Gorman, who is here to provide the board and the community with our annual district wellness report. Along the lines of what Dr. Diskin said, each year this presentation is an important part of our district's responsibility under both federal and state requirements related to health and wellness. Districts that participate in the National School Lunch Program are required to maintain a local school wellness policy, ensuring that all of our students their well-being through nutrition, education, physical activity, and healthy school environments are implemented. Our wellness coordinator, Mr. Foreman, plays a critical leadership role in leading or building wellness committees through this work each year. So we're excited to provide the highlights. Did you get the presentation up here of our work? You want to log in as yourself? Grab a different machine.
was off the hook there. I have my glasses on. No worries. Here, I'm not going to do anything.
Loading the presentation. It's just loading the software. It's in the email, correct?
Yeah, the presentation email. Yeah. I think I'm not meant to do it.
How about if we take a little bit of the pressure off? I'll do a quick board president report. So while you guys continue to do your thing, but just as a warning, it's not very long. No pressure. So as you might all know, especially some of our teachers, we had Teacher Appreciation Week a couple weeks ago. I think we had a great presentation of it in the district. Our PTOs worked long and hard to ensure that our incredible teachers know how much we love and respect them. And so I think that's just a great thing to recognize as a community, that we do all like to come together for that, to appreciate them. I would also like to say, as we've had some comments and messages and everything else that have come forth, that as a board, I know we really do appreciate the feedback from the community, whether it comes in the form of comments at a Board of Education meeting, emails, whatever it is. It does help to inform decisions and progress. So we do like to hear from the community, and we really do appreciate that. We are starting to celebrate the end of the year, so that's exciting. And I know our AP students who finished their testing are especially grateful for that. But I do want to make sure everyone knows that there's still so much work going on in the background. I know the administration and the teachers and everyone are still working hard and preparing for next year. And our Board of Ed committees are all also working with the pedal to the floor, trying to keep things moving and keep things going in the right direction. And so we have a lot of things going on, and you may not see it every moment, but it definitely is there. And that concludes my board president report.
Perfect time.
Let's turn it over.
Thank you all. As Ms. Soa said, I am Tricia O'Gorman, the Washington school nurse. You forgot that part. That's my number one job. I'm also the lead nurse and the district wellness coordinator. So I'm pleased to share an overview of our district wellness initiatives and the many ways our schools continue to support the physical, emotional, and social well-being of our students and staff. Our district wellness efforts align closely with the New Jersey Department of Education standards, as well as the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act of 2010. As you will see throughout this presentation, Millburn extends far beyond nutrition and physical education. It includes emotional wellness, positive school climate, student safety, staff wellness, family engagement, and creating environments where students feel connected, supported, and ready to learn. Actually, go back. Our district wellness policy is built upon state and federal guidelines designed to support the whole child. We recognize that student success is deeply connected to physical health, emotional regulation, social connection, and access to supportive environments. Each school in our district offers a variety of wellness opportunities for students and staff. These include health education, physical activity, social emotional learning, mindfulness opportunities, school climate initiatives, and community engagement programs. Together, these efforts help create school communities that support learning, resilience, and overall well-being. The District Wellness Committee. The District Wellness Committee includes representatives from each school, actually each building, as well as members of our school food service program. The committee meets 4 times a year to establish goals, review district wellness policies, and ensure compliance with state and federal requirements. While the district committee provides guidance and oversight. Much of the meaningful wellness work really happens within the individual schools. School-based wellness teams develop programs that reflect the unique needs of their students and staff while supporting the broader goals of the district. So this next slide is really just who's who on the district wellness, and you see we have leadership across all of our buildings. School health services teams work collaboratively and include nurses, social workers, psychologists, therapists, learning consultants, behaviorists, our school doctor, and other specialized staff. We work closely with students, families, caregivers, and yeah, that was from last week for Nurses Appreciation Day. I loved being a minion, so I had to put that in there. I thought it looked so like me. So we work closely with students, families, caregivers, and outside healthcare providers when needed. And this collaborative approach allows us to address both the physical and emotional needs of students while supporting their academic success. Research consistently demonstrates that a positive school climate is essential for student achievement. A supportive school climate includes meaningful engagement, emotional and physical safety, and environments that foster connection and belonging. Students who feel connected to their schools are more likely to be engaged academically, develop healthy coping skills, and build resilience. Positive school environments also contribute significantly to staff satisfaction and morale. These are actually some children from Hartshorn School enjoying some outside time during Wellness Week. Strong relationships between students, teachers, families, and staff act as powerful protective factors for children and adolescents. When students feel known, valued, and supported, they are more likely to thrive, both academically and emotionally. Relationship building continues to be one of the most impactful tools we have in supporting student well-being. Our highly trained professional staff, including counselors, psychologists, nurses, and administrators, collaborate closely when concerns arise. Comprehensive risk and threat assessments are conducted when necessary to ensure the physical safety and emotional well-being of all. Staff strictly adhere to the district's harassment, intimidation, and bullying policy, ensuring prompt and thorough responses to all reported concerns. To support student safety, every building has security personnel and additional staff members who are trained to assist in the event of an emergency. The district utilizes tools such as GoGuardian and Gaggle to monitor online activity and identify potential safety concerns, allowing staff to intervene early and provide support when students are struggling. In addition, our schools continue to incorporate restorative practices that emphasize communication, accountability, relationship building, and problem solving. This approach helps foster healthy school communities while providing students with opportunities for self-reflection and growth. At Millburn High School, the Student Center provides brief, supportive, solution-focused counseling to students in areas that impact their education. They're welcome to go during non-academic times during the school day. In alignment with the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act, our elementary schools continue to encourage healthy lunches and snacks when provided by the families. The PTO's supported food program is also in alignment with district policy, limiting sugar and being allergy aware. Nutrition education is embedded throughout the health curriculum, beginning in elementary school and continues through later grade levels. We were lucky enough to have the Scream Truck come to Washington this week. And as I was walking out there, one of my students turned to me and said, "You know that is a lot of sugar and is not good for you." Guilty as charged. So the use of food as reward is discouraged in order to promote healthy relationships with food and support lifelong healthy habits. Pomptonian Food Service held their annual competition challenging our middle and high school students to create healthy recipe. The winner was Jake Ezra Elmgard. Some of you might remember he also won it last year. He's quite talented. This year's winning meal was blackberry corn muffins with yogurt dipping sauce. And it is featured now in the cafeteria, if you would like to stop by and try. He also won a KitchenAid mixer with an ice cream attachment. Students who qualify for free and reduced lunch are provided with milk and lunch sponsored by the PTO. School celebrations include allergy-aware, healthy choice options. And we really try to focus more on activities than food, especially at the elementary level. The district health curriculum evolves as student matures and is designed to meet the developmental needs of students at each grade level. So in addition to physical health topics, students learn communication skills, emotional regulation, coping strategies, decision-making, and healthy relationship skills. This comprehensive approach helps students develop the knowledge and skills needed to support both personal wellness and academic success. Our elementary schools offer many shared wellness initiatives throughout the district. These include, of course, our PE classes, health classes, SEL learning, field days, and school-wide wellness. We also collaborate with the Millburn Police Department to bring our students the DARE program. So each school approaches wellness creatively and thoughtfully, blending it with many SEL opportunities throughout the school year. Some of this school year's programs at the elementary level included caring kids, understanding and respecting students who are differently abled, think twice and be nice, stand up to bullies, Pink Out Day, Kids Heart Challenge, MMAC, Red Ribbon Week, and many, many fundraisers, gathering food for those less fortunate. The Ed Centre staff are seen here getting involved in our Pink Out Day, raising awareness and funding for breast cancer awareness. Washington School, I'm trying to break it up with some photographs, keep you interested. Washington School is here. This is a tradition now at Washington School. Mrs. Collop, who owns seemingly hundreds of saris, very kindly brings them in. We get to choose our color, and she then spends the time draping them on us, which is no small feat, I will tell you that. But it is absolutely wonderful, and the students just love it. Absolutely, they just love it. Another fantastic tradition is the visitation of our Chinese dragon dancers for Lunar New Year. This is facilitated every year by the Millburn Short Hills Chinese Association, also a very happy day in the schools. So Millburn Middle School Health and Wellness, this continues to offer thoughtful and engaging wellness programs. They really are very creative at the middle school. It is led by a dedicated team of educators and counselors. So in addition to the core subjects of nutrition and physical health I mentioned earlier, student wellness is largely facilitated with help from peer leaders, especially Well and Arrow. That is the name of one of the peer leaders groups. Some of the things they did this year included the Millburn Middle School Pets Bulletin Board. They had holiday and positive messaging bulletin boards, games room during study hall, which is going to continue monthly, March through June. They had a brag board, and the favorite at the middle school always is the wellness dogs, therapy dogs that come several times a year. I think it's 4 events this year. They also have events for staff yoga, we brought in some local businesses to do staff massages, which was very much appreciated. I believe they have a taco truck heading to the Millburn Middle School in June. Millburn High School Wellness, they also have a variety of wellness-related programs, including student-led initiatives, school climate events, and activities that support overall well-being. Some of the programs at Millburn High School this year include substance abuse prevention programs, programs on suicide prevention, attitudes in reverse for 9th graders, programs for staff and students to create a positive school climate. They also have the therapy dogs, and I believe you all had the wonderful experience of meeting or hearing Olivia Scheidler play her harp. She offers that monthly at Millburn for the students. And they also have Friday fun throughout the year with games in the gym and outside when feasible. The LGBTQ junior presentations are always a popular event. And this year they had a young alumni panel where it's called Real Talk on College Life. So this is a great opportunity to hear real, honest insight about the transition from high school to college life. And the panelists were Millburn High School graduates who are now in Colgate, Wisconsin, Maryland, Yukon, Duke, Bucknell, and Skidmore. So this was very valuable student-to-student information. This one is close to my heart. This is Washington School. We received a Distinguished Kindness School Recognition Award, which was really, really a wonderful thing. And during our whole school meeting, Dr. Richardson presented the certificate to the Washington School community. My friend Max proudly accepted the honor on behalf of the students. We had many in attendance. Mr. Connolly, Mr. Arlington were on hand. And again, Olivia showed up for me and played the harp. And she's just such an incredible person. She just shines, and her passion and energy just infect all of us. She's just a wonderful, wonderful, what would you say, addition to the district. I'm really going to miss her next year, or when she moves on. So Wellness Week happened this year in all the schools and the Ed Center between March 2nd and 6th. During that week, we had lots and lots of planned activities. They varied, again, according to the school's culture and need. It went from gratitude messages and mindfulness activities to wellness events and acts of kindness. The week highlighted the importance of skills that support both academic success and emotional well-being. For Wellness Week, Millburn High School offered a wide range of wellness opportunities designed to meet the diverse needs and interests of the students. During Wellness Week, one of the things they added was adding more music to the morning announcements. And they usually somebody picked a song, and then they would share why that song is important to them and how it uplifts them. And they would bring a theme into the day, encouraging the students to kind of focus on that theme and what's uplifting about it. Using music to just, we all know it can change your mood, right? So now they've continued to do this. Every Friday, a different staff member picks a different song, and that's how they start their day. So it's a nice little offshoot from Wellness Week for them. They also have many student-led clubs, peer support opportunities, and of course, Abby and Ledger, the therapy dogs, showed up again. Millburn Middle School Wellness Week. A couple of the highlights there would be their Be Well, Do Well video booth, where staff and teachers were kind of interviewed and just got to jump in front of the camera and say what makes them happy. What's a feel-good vibe that they've going on. They participated in bracelet making, mindful coloring, and they also had a musical preview as part of their week. Hartron had a different theme for each wellness day, as did most of the elementary schools. Staff wellness remains an essential component of maintaining a positive and effective learning environment for all students. Across the district, wellness teams continue to provide opportunities that support staff engagement and well-being, while also reflecting on how these supports can evolve to meet changing needs over time. Over the past 2 years, the district has experienced a period of transition, including changes in leadership, staffing structures, and programming. Throughout this time, Millburn staff have remained deeply committed to their students, continuing to provide high-quality instruction and strong social and emotional support. So this year we celebrated our teachers and staff as we worked to make them feel valued and appreciated. National data indicate that many educators are experiencing increased levels of stress, highlighting the importance of sustained attention to staff wellness. Prioritizing the well-being of educators is associated with improved staff attendance, increased staff retention, and stronger overall academic school performance. Moving forward, it remains important to foster a culture in which staff feel supported, valued, and respected. For its 10th year, the consortium of Berkeley Heights, Chatham, Millburn, New Providence, and Summit school districts offered families a variety of educational opportunities. 2 programs offered this year were college mental health and performance, preparing high-achieving students to thrive, not just survive, and Screenagers, a screening to help students find resilience, navigate stress, relieve anxiety and depression in the digital age, a tall order. Oops. I'm missing a page. So this is our school counseling webpage, which was just recently put up onto our website. As you can see, it offers information for parents on all the different counseling opportunities and that we offer throughout the district from the elementary all the way up. Counselors provide parents and students with guidance and access to information along a developmental K through 12 pathway. So, you want to move on? So as we continue to value data-driven instruction and measurable outcomes, it is equally important to recognize that some of the most essential indicators of future success are not always easily quantified. Emerging research in education and workforce development consistently shows that in the age of artificial intelligence, employers increasingly prioritize human-centered skills such as resilience, adaptability, collaboration, leadership, communication, and the ability to accept constructive feedback and grow from it. Last one, I think. The World Economic Forum and LinkedIn workforce reports continue to identify skills such as emotional intelligence, teamwork, flexibility, and problem solving among the most valuable competencies in the modern workforce. As educators, our responsibility extends beyond academic achievement alone. We're helping students develop the character, emotional intelligence, and the relational skills that will allow them to not only to succeed professionally, but also to contribute meaningfully to their communities and their own relationships. These human skills may not always appear in spreadsheets or standardized tests, yet they remain foundational to lifelong success and well-being. By continuing to support wellness, connection, belonging, and resilience in our schools, as we are preparing students for a future being adaptable, collaborative, and deeply human, will matter more than ever. Thank you for your time, your continued support of all our staff and students throughout the district. I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. It's always wonderful to hear from you. Do the board have any questions or comments? Mr. Farashudin.
Thank you for that great presentation. First of all, Nurse O'Gorman, you are a very kind nurse. My kids remember from Washington School. I had a question about the team sports aspect of physical fitness, which is really important. My understanding is, or I had a misconception that Millburn High School sports are for like the super duper jocks. I understand that there are various levels where kids can participate, which I think is great. If there is a way to kind of disseminate that, especially now that 8th graders are getting ready for high school and might be thinking about it, I think the more kids that can participate in sports, team sports, it's going to really drive their well-being. So I think just getting the word out there, I think we have a great program. Getting the word out there would be great.
No, I really appreciate your words. I actually brought that up with my own PE teacher this year when we were planning Wellness Week. I said, even PE class shouldn't be for those who are athletic, right? So we changed the emphasis that week to all our PE classes just been about movement, right? So that's why you saw some girls, I think, underneath the hula hoops all tied together. So we gave them hula hoops and jump ropes, and they could do pretty much anything as long as they were moving. And that, I feel, is to your point, like movement and physical exercise isn't always about competition and sports. So I think we can introduce that actually much earlier than 8th grade. If we bring it all the way back and bring it through the elementary, it's probably easier to introduce it that way and to just have fun. We also had a yoga class, and it was interesting to see what children responded to yoga and whom it challenged. And it was exactly to your point, because it was a quite internal focus, and it was amazing. So thank you for saying that. Yes, you're preaching to the choir.
Thank you. I do love the idea of physical education being about being healthy and enjoying it, and not just, trying to do a specific thing. That's great. Ms. Shivani?
One quick comment. Every time I see that Washington School picture, the Diwali picture of the teachers, it really warms my heart. I mean, it is, especially for students of Indian heritage, I think it's very positive to see the culture represented. I know it's a small thing, you probably do it for fun, but it has a deep impact on wellness also, I assume. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you, yeah. We see their faces, they light up. They're just like, You know, and we wear them all day. It's not always easy to nurse in a sari, but we do it. Yes, thank you. Thank you
Very
so
much
much.
so. Ms. Wong?
Yeah, I love the music part. And also, I'm very glad to see that you mentioned not only the wellness programs for students, but also the staff wellness initiatives. Yeah, happy teacher, happy students.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank
Yes.
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other board members? Thank you very much for a great presentation. Dr. Diskin, would you like to share your report?
Yes, I would. Again, thank you to Ms. O'Gorman and Ms. Soa for bringing us that presentation. It's always a joy to have you. At this time, I'd like to start with a moment of silence for one of our longtime colleagues, Mr. Phil Mistretta. He was a fifth grade teacher at Millburn Middle School, and in fact, when I worked at Millburn Middle School, he was one of my colleagues. I remember him very fondly, great guy, funny, just really enjoyed, and he spent 35 years here in Millburn. So he passed on April 4th, so we'd like to give him a moment of silence. All right, thank you. Tonight on the agenda is an approval for our new Washington School principal. I'd like to thank all who participated in the interview process for their time, dedication, and commitment to identifying the right internal candidate. So therefore, tonight to the board, I am recommending the appointment of Ms. Jennifer Baldessari as Washington School principal effective July 1st, 2026. With more than 20 years of experience in education and a career spanning teaching, curriculum writing and development, and administration, she has built a strong reputation for collaborative leadership, relationships, building those relationships, and a focus on meeting the academic and social emotional needs of our students. In her current role as assistant principal for both Washington and Glenwood schools, she has shown her dedication to fostering inclusive, supportive, and high-achieving school communities. Please join me, a little premature perhaps, but I think supported. Ms. Baldessari, I look forward to continuing our work together in this new role and to partnering with our students, staff, and families as we continue to foster a school culture where every child feels valued, supported, and inspired to succeed. So congratulations a little early. So we'll do pictures in a little bit, but Strawberry Festivals, that season has begun and is in full swing across the district. Deerfield and Hartshorn have already hosted their celebrations, while South Mountain and Glenwood will welcome families and community members this week for evenings filled with rides, games, prizes, and food, of course, food, and fun for all ages. Wyoming School will round out the season during the first week of June, bringing another wonderful opportunity for our community to come together and celebrate. Ms. O'Gorman mentioned a young alumni panel at the high school. Director of Guidance, Catherine Alvarez, who's here tonight also, is organizing an upcoming young alumni panel for our juniors and seniors, featuring Millburn graduates who will return to share their college experiences. Which means that they have to learn how to do laundry. No, I'm just kidding. But students will hear firsthand about the transition to college, including academics, campus life, lessons learned during their first year. The panel includes alumni currently attending a range of institutions such as Colgate, Wisconsin, Maryland, UConn, Duke, Bucknell, and Skidmore. This is a valuable opportunity for seniors to ask questions, gain honest insights, and feel more confident as they prepare for their next steps and their next journey after graduation. Flyers with registration information are available in the hallway at the high school counseling and also on our website under high school counseling events. The Millburn Short Hills Art Advisory Committee has announced its 2026 Scholarship Award winners, recognizing some of Millburn High School's most talented young artists. Congratulations to all of the students honored for their creativity, originality, and outstanding artistic achievement. This year's senior award recipients include Arabella Strike for the best overall portfolio. Award of Merit goes to Sivan Abbott, Anusha Kadian, Askara Kumar, Yuri Chaudhry, and Oakley Myron. Honorable mention goes to Alexander Bunch, Jessica Pai, Jake Parker, and Gabby Port. Junior honors include Angela Hu and Katie Ding. Sophomore students recognized as Best Engineer Artist include Angelica Wang, Shi Sky, and Wenji Zhang. The winner's original artwork will be showcased at the Millburn Free Public Library from May 3rd through the 24th, with all members of the community invited to attend. Winners will also be honored at a special reception tomorrow, May 20th at 7 p.m., where students will receive professional framing art supplies and town certificates of merit. Now celebrating 20 years of partnership with the Millburn High School Art Department, the Millburn Short Hills Art Advisory Committee continues to support and elevate these student artists whose work has earned recognition at both the state and the national level. So congratulations to them. And upcoming holiday, Memorial Day, the annual Millburn Township Memorial Day Parade will take place on Memorial Day beginning at 11 a.m. at Millburn High School, followed by a ceremony at Taylor Park. This year's event is especially meaningful as part of the nation's 250th anniversary commemoration, highlighting Millburn's connection to the American Revolution and honoring the patriots who fought and sacrificed for our country's independence. Community members are all encouraged to attend this important day of remembrance as we honor all veterans and those who gave their lives in service to our nation. We wish everyone a happy and safe Memorial Day weekend. And just for fun, we have a little video, if you can pull that up for me. Deerfield's fourth graders, and this is an annual challenge that they do, but Deerfield's fourth graders held its annual cereal box domino run. This is a challenge in kinetic energy in action. They collected 2,600 boxes of cereal, which created a domino effect, and they donated these boxes to the Interfaith Food Pantry of the Oranges. Now, the secret is, let's see if it worked. It's really fun to see, and if you have an opportunity to come out next year to support them, I know that they will be doing it again around this time of year. So thank you for that awesome tradition. And upcoming events, Wednesday, May 27th at 3 p.m. is the Glenwood Strawberry Festival. Thursday, May 28th at 6 p.m. is our art show. And Thursday, May 28th is our middle school chorus concert. And that was the Millburn High School AP art show on the 28th at 6 p.m. So that concludes my report. Oh, I also want to say one more thing. On the agenda tonight, I'd like to thank the Millburn Education Foundation for their amazing donation for bringing in a outside guidance counselor, sort of a college and career readiness. Her name is Sarah Haberson, and she's going to be coming here to work with our high school counselors and the staff with some professional development on things like writing a college recommendation and kind of what's out there in the land of colleges at this point in time. So we want to just thank the Millburn Education Foundation for this amazing opportunity, and we thank you for that. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. That was a really full report. Do any board members have any questions or comments before we move on? I think that would be a great idea. So we'll go ahead and take a picture, family picture.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And while we do that, my one comment from the report is just how amazing it is that our bench is so deep, that we have great candidates internally that we can bring in as leaders, and it's just great to see. Congratulations. And then we'll start with our committee reports. Mr. Finkelstein, would you like to start us off with the program committee?
Yes, thank you. The program committee met once on May 8th at 2 p.m. Board members present were myself, Mr. Bigman, Ms. Shivani, and Ms. Longley Richards. Administration present were Mr. Connolly, Mr. Arlington, Ms. Bryan, Supervisor VLA, Ms. Graff, Ms. Martin, and Dr. Young, Director of STEM. On the agenda, first were curriculum development projects. The CNI team reviewed the winter-spring curriculum writing and revisions projects with the program committee. There were 21 projects that were shared with the committee across all departments. The CNI team provided the documents to the program committee in advance of the meeting for review. During our meeting, the supervising directors reviewed each project and responded to questions from the program committee. The committee made suggestions and other items for potential review as well. Next was the technology audit and integration. During the meeting, we discussed concerns raised at the BOE meeting on May 4th, 2026 regarding the use of technology in classrooms and screen time. The CNI team discussed the need to conduct a technology audit to evaluate the actual use of technology. We also discussed some practical ways to reduce screen time. The CNI team will develop a plan to evaluate this and address areas for improvement in integrating technology into our instructional model. Next, private school enrollment trends. The committee analyzed preliminary data on district attrition to private institutions, focusing specifically on traditional exit points following 5th and 8th grades. Grading and assessment revisions. The committee discussed and continues to make progress on adjustments to the grading and assessment guidelines. Music program weighting. The committee directed the CNI committee asked the CNI team to investigate public comments from May 4th regarding vocal music, course weighting at MHS, and to provide an update in the future. The next meeting was planned for May 21st at 2 p.m., and the meeting concluded at 4 p.m.
Thank you. Ms. Shivani for governance.
Sure. So the governance committee met on May 14th at 5:30 p.m. Board members present were myself, Priya Shivani, Ms. Abby Spells, Mr. Jeff Casson, and Ms. Cynthia Longley Richards. Administrators present were Dr. Diskin, Mr. Arlington, and Mr. Conley. In terms of personnel updates, Dr. Diskin and Mr. Arlington reviewed key updates connected to the May 18th personnel report, including resignations and other personnel considerations. On the Washington School principal appointment, Dr. Diskin shared background information regarding the principal search and reviewed her recommendation of Ms. Baldessari for appointment as the Washington School principal effective July 1st, 2026. Ms. Baldessari currently serves as assistant principal for both Glenwood and Washington School and has worked closely with students, staff, and families across both school communities. The committee discussed her leadership experience, instructional knowledge, and familiarity with the district. The committee expressed support for recommendation and wishes Ms. Baldessari well in her new role. Regarding K-5 counselors and assistant principals, the administration and committee discussed anticipated staffing needs and vacancies for the 2026-27 school year, including openings within the high school guidance department and leadership considerations resulting from the Washington principal appointment. The conversation included discussion regarding the importance of counseling and administrative leadership roles in supporting students' academics, social, emotional, and behavioral needs. The committee and administration also discussed possible configurations and structures for assistant principal and counseling support next year to best align with evolving student and staff needs across the district. Regarding technology planning and cross-communication with program committee, as Mr. Finkelstein just reported, the committee discussed the importance of establishing thoughtful processes, beliefs, and practices regarding students' use of technology and digital balance. Mr. Connolly shared the early stages of a broader planning and audit process that will take place over the coming months to examine current practices, identify areas for refinement, and support clear district-wide expectations and approaches. The committee discussed the importance of continued collaboration and articulation between governance and program committees as this work evolves. The meeting adjourned at 7 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Priya Shivani.
Thank you, Ms. Shivani. Mr. Bigman, Joint Facilities.
The members of the Millburn Joint Facilities Committee met virtually on Tuesday, May 5th at 11 a.m. Present were from the Board of Education, School Administration, Peter Stars and Noel Bigman, Town Representatives Chris Meyer and Chris Zimmerman, and Rec Commission Representative Josh Ryder. The discussion topics included the paper mill field erosion project, where Mr. Stars provided a status update to the completion of the project. The second topic was the Millburn High School backfields expansion project. The project timeline was discussed by Mr. Stars and tentatively included the following dates, which are all subject to change. Meeting with the engineers will occur on May 21st, 2026. Review of the plans will occur by June 8th, 2026. The advertised bid date will be June 15th, 2026. And then opening up the projects for bids will be on July 8th, 2026, with an award of the contract by July 21st, 2026, and commencement of the work by August of 2026. The engineers reported that the stormwater management conditions were more favorable than anticipated, which may reduce the time for the New Jersey to obtain New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection approval and associated project costs. Chris Myers discussed student and other player safety and the environment as project priorities, so that the turf surface materials recommendation currently is for an organic infill turf option. The school district's new AD, Peter Kane, was appointed and will be part of the working committee for the backfield project. Third topic was old business. Mr. Myers discussed the field seasons for the recreation department. Sports will be aligned to the NJSIA sports seasons, which will help with scheduling. The field fees will be reviewed and revised next spring before the fields are opened for usage. Mr. Zimmerman discussed the field maintenance applications and bidding process for 2026 and 2027. New business, there was no new business discussed, and other matters included Mr. Zimmerman discussing the current year-to-date revenue and Mr. Stars discussing expenses for the same period too. The meeting ended at 11:45 a.m. Respectfully submitted, Noel Bigman.
Thank you, Mr. Bigman. Before we move on, do any board members have any questions or comments? Yes, Ms. Shivani.
Very exciting that the high school project is starting in August. Any estimate on how long it would take?
We are looking to have the substantial completion by February 15th so that we know it's ready for spring.
Thank you. Any other questions? Excellent. Ms. DeTore, the highlight of the evening.
You. Good evening, everyone. With this ongoing beautiful weather, AP exams have officially concluded as students enter the final stretch of the fourth marking period. Continuing the discussion from the most recent student liaison meeting with Mr. Nixon, test corrections remained a major topic across all grade levels. Students expressed a desire to provide feedback on the structure of test corrections. While opportunities for corrections are appreciated by all, many students feel that in certain instances the process can feel more procedural than reflective of learning from their mistakes. Another important theme was course rigor and readiness. Students shared that there is a pressure to enroll in the most advanced courses available, even when they may not feel academically prepared. Students suggested that ongoing conversations about academic balance and readiness could help alleviate some of this stress. There was also interest in exploring how academic offerings are communicated and how students can make more informed course selection decisions. Mr. Nixon shared that this feedback would be shared with the administration as they evaluate the various aspects of grading and assessment. Moving on to athletics, it has been a strong stretch for Millburn, with softball earning a key win to improve its record and baseball securing multiple close victories, including a walk-off win. Girls flag football recorded a shutout victory, and boys tennis earned a dominant team win. Girls golf captured the program's first ever state championship, marking a historic achievement, and boys volleyball continued its strong postseason momentum with another victory. And finally, girls lacrosse secured a divisional championship. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you so much. It's always great to hear from you. Mr. Connolly, it's a hard act to follow.
Yes, it is. In the spirit of the theme on technology, as I mentioned at the previous board meeting, the district will be conducting a technology use audit to better understand technology, how technology is used to support instruction across grade levels and subject areas. This process will reflect our commitment to maintaining a balanced approach, which technology enhances learning and student engagement without replacing the high-quality instruction, interpersonal connections, and hands-on experiences and traditional teaching practices. The audit will help to identify trends, highlight effective practices, and determine areas for improvement to ensure that technology use remains purposeful and intentional and aligned with the needs of our students and the community. We appreciate the ongoing feedback and the partnership from our families as we continue refining instructional practices to support all learners. In addition, Dr. Young will participate in a virtual workshop focused on advancing AI and technology integration as instructional tools. This professional development opportunity will help inform our approach as we address concerns about technology use in the classroom with perceptions of excessive screen time. In addition, Millburn Township Public Schools will be partnering with some local school districts to address this same issue. This is not an issue that's isolated only within this community, but in many of our surrounding communities. So we have reached out to some other districts and are going to be partnering with them to brainstorm, have some additional thought partners with that. We did conclude our high school AP testing, and that process went extremely smoothly, with 785 students registering for 2,536 AP assessments. This represents a 14.3% increase in student participation and a 23.7% increase in total registrations compared to last year's 687 students and 2,050 assessments. The NJSLA testing is underway throughout the district. Elementary schools have concluded regularly scheduled testing, and makeups will be taking place over the next few days. MMS and MHS will conduct their regularly scheduled testing this week. Elementary field days, as Dr. Diskin mentioned, last week Glenwood and South Mountain wrapped up their field day festivities filled with excitement and laughter. The rest of the elementary schools are gearing up for their own fun-filled field days in the coming weeks. In the spirit of collaboration, This year's elementary school field day is supported by another physical education teacher from around the district, making these events even more successful for students. Respectfully submitted, John Conley. Yeah.
Hi, just on the technology piece, we have formed a consortium. Right now we have New Providence working with us, the school district at Madison, as well as some other districts surrounding us. It is not a new problem. This is a problem that we are looking to address head-on with thoughtfulness. And with that, that means that we have to look at inviting our teachers to the table, as well as our parents and think about our students as well and how they use technology and see technology. So we call that a 360 review of having everyone brought to the table together before any major decisions are made. We will look at bringing in some ideas about recess and those types of things and not using technology for those forums. So I just wanted to add that piece because it's a lot of work that we're doing behind the scenes. So we just want to make sure that everybody's aware that it is being thoughtfully discussed among all constituents. Yeah.
Yes, I was just going to say, open to comments and questions.
Yeah,
Mr.
just on the
Finkelstein.
technology as well, it came up in program committee, as I mentioned in the minutes, and we were first just the perspective of, it wasn't that long ago, some of us had younger kids when there were complaints from the community that we didn't have one-to-one Chromebooks at the youngest ages, and they were shared on carts, and like that was a terrible thing, and the district was lagging behind in technology. And it shows how I think the winds of change in education, or people understand now that maybe all that screen time wasn't so great, and moving back the other way. But in the meantime, so many things were implemented, the good of technology in terms of its convenience factor of turning in homework and doing all sorts of things. Some of the gamification of learning has been proven to be good, while others not so good. So, we're heavily integrated in technology, and now sort of unwinding it is going to be tricky, and appreciate the efforts from Mr. Connolly, Dr. Jiskin, the CNI team, and everyone else trying to take this head on. But it's a big shift. It's super important I think, for our kids in the community to get this right. But it's a big change from the way we've thought about it in the past. And so, looking forward to hearing more about it and what we can do.
And to add to that, from our governance committee meeting, we did talk about the need to be very precise and making sure we didn't have a knee-jerk reaction where then we lost important things or important skills and put kids behind the 8 ball for other types of things, like NJSLA. Mr. Casson.
Mr. Lawrence, I was hoping maybe you'd be able to remind me of the history here. Did we start one-to-one devices just at the beginning of COVID?
So actually, the one-to-one devices were coming into place in 2018, and then COVID pushed the envelope, and we really made sure that everybody had their Chromebooks, they had access. We did have carts back then where students would leave their Chromebooks in the carts before COVID hit, and then we just took them all home. And then it was a transition back into the world of, I've had my Chromebook with me at all times for a year and a half, and now how am I going to live without that? So, it's definitely something to take a look at. We still have those carts, I believe, somewhere in storage. And so if that's something, that's an easy thing to do, is to transition those things. But we want to make sure that we're doing it thoughtfully and not disadvantaging anyone.
Mr. Fairshuden? Oh, sure, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I think the way we've been trying to look at this is really focusing on intentionality, like the intentional use of the technology and making it purposeful, right? So moving away from the extras that we can get away from, whether it be recess or students, being off task on those things. So that's going to be really our focus, is looking at how we can make sure that the use of technology is intentional and purposeful, and not just, for the sake of having a technology device in front of us. So that's going to be a lot of our work moving forward.
Mr. Fairshuden?
Yeah, Mr. Conley, I think that's really well said. Couple of things. It's about balance. and it's about intentionality. Look, we're not going to put the genie back in the bottle. We're in the AI age. We have to, our learners need to become technology aware. They need to become AI proficient in order to whatever job you're going into in the real world. So it's not, look, we're not putting the genie back in the bottle. We're going to have to find the balance, and we're just going to have to be thoughtful about it. So I just wanted to set expectations for everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Casson.
Sorry, I was just following on. Do we start at K? Do they get their laptops at K, or is it first grade, second grade?
Yeah, they do get them in kindergarten, but they don't take them home or anything like that. But there is access to them. It's not a lot. But if we needed the resource, it's there, but not a lot.
Ms. Shivani.
Yeah, I think, Mr. Casson, to your point, I think a lot of the concern is also from the younger elementary parents, and I think that probably is where we definitely want to focus this more on. But we'll wait for the audit and the survey from Mr. Connolly and team. Thanks.
And just an update on that, we've already begun to start crafting that audit for our teachers. We're partnering with some other schools looking that have gone and done some audits already. We've got their audits to take a look at to be able to see what type of questions and stuff they're asking their teachers. So this is going to be, we're moving already on this. Like I said, we're ready to really hit the ground running.
I appreciate that. I was also glad to hear that you're incorporating the teachers in the discussion, because I think a lot of them do see what the best, or all of them see what the best practices are and what the best usages are and how it actually looks in the classroom and how it affects the kids long term. So I'm glad to hear that that's a part of the discussion. Any other questions or comments? Excellent. Well, let's open the floor to public comment. Please state your name and address for the record. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Thank you.
And a third grader at Wyoming School. I am here to support the other parents who spoke at the last board meeting. I unfortunately could not make it, and I hear already you've heard the concerns about technology and screen time, especially in the younger grades. I'm certainly not anti-technology. Certainly we need to prepare our students. It does have a place in the classroom, but what I've seen as a parent is unfettered access to things like YouTube and AI chatbots at young grades. And that really creates a lot of distraction. And I think it takes students off track when they're trying to do their homework and potentially in the classroom. I don't know what happens in the classroom, but I could imagine it may happen. I think as other parents have shared and as other districts are exploring, there's a lot of research now emerging that, yes, maybe we have gone too far. Higher levels of technology use can tend to correlate with worsening academic performance. There's a lot of questions about the impact on attention and focus, and there is a lot of research showing that students do comprehend better when they read on paper and not on the screen. So I also think there's a potential resource question here. I know lots of school districts are struggling. If we're saying younger kids maybe don't benefit so much from this, maybe those resources for that one-to-one Chromebook could be better deployed elsewhere. I would certainly encourage the district, and it sounds to do a lot of what you sounds like you're already doing. I would like you to review the current level of device use at the elementary school level and see if that's developmentally appropriate. I would like you to better define and then clearly communicate standards for when technology should be used in instruction, as we're saying, purposefully and intentionally and not just by default. And I would ask for that, putting into place stronger enforceable controls that minimize the distractions that these devices can provide. Certainly in consultation with teachers, I think that is important. So as it's been said, I think we do want to get the balance right so that technology supports learning but doesn't compete with it for our kids' attention. Thank you much for your time.
Thank you.
I'm Louis Liu of 236 236 Long Hill Drive. 22 years ago, I did the AP exams in this room. I am a parent of a first grader and second grader in Hartshorn. And I want to talk about AI as well, right? It's come to my attention that some of the children are been given chatbot access, especially to come up with ideas for stories, which I find deeply disturbing. To give you some context, I'm a repeat AI founder, AI scientist, and investor. I also advise central banks, the Bank of England, some state governments, and the Singaporean government on AI usage on a sort of systemic level. And this is something that I think deeply concerns me. I want to address sort of a couple of things, right? So the first is that there's now genuine study that shows that AI decreases cognitive ability, right? And we already see this from what happened to Gen Zers, right? Gen Zers, unfortunately, are less cognitively capable than their parents. This has been shown over a repeated number of studies, right? And we see this across, the United States has spent $30 billion on tablets, and I think what we see is, frankly, dumber kids, right, that are now entering sort of proper adulthood. The MIT Media Lab recently just showed a report that showed that college students write substantially poorer essays that are quote-unquote soulless when using ChatGPT to help them with their essays. And crucially, what this report has shown is that even after students stop using GDP, that cognitive impairment still lingers. The second sort of point I want to make is really recently, as a couple of weeks ago, there was a major Nature paper that's just been retracted. This Nature paper effectively said that ChatGPT or AI chatbots help sort of student learning at a positive effect, and this was completely debunked and retracted, and I have the retraction notes here I'll send through. Fundamentally, for a lot of AI-oriented founders in the Silicon Valley, this basically completely debunked the fundamental basis of a lot of the claims that they make that AI's impact in classrooms. And I have a really simple ask, right? Think about the calculator, right? When we learn mathematics, right, we learn to do subtraction, addition, division manually first. And then we introduce the calculator once we understand the process, right? I feel like by introducing chatbots this early on, you're robbing children the ability to think creatively by themselves, and you're robbing children the ability to form language before they're able to. That's similar to giving a kindergartner a calculator. They will never learn addition, right? And so from this perspective, very simple asks for me. I would love the district to think about what is the clear minimum competency threshold before we introduce AI. We absolutely need to introduce AI, but are we doing it too early? Second point is that I would love to see us provide mandatory AI safety and awareness training before teachers, before any development. And number third is, I think you're already doing this, but transparency with parents of what tools are being used. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I have just legal aid.
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
No.
Can you hear me better now? Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. My name is Rachel Lerner, and as a mom of two in Millburn in 5th grade and 3rd grade, I'm also a woman in a female predominant profession and a clinical background. I wanted to clarify some concerns we had regarding reductions in workforce, and I couldn't locate some of these things. Is it the plan right now to reduce the technology/media positions by 2 in the elementary schools, K through 5th grade?
So we'll answer those on the website at a later time. We don't really respond in real time during these meetings, but if you ask the questions, we'll have response online.
Okay, so part of what I'm saying is in addressing that was discussed at the last meeting regarding reductions in tech and also shared positions. So I'm going to preface by assuming that is what might happen. So please forgive me if this is no longer relevant, but I couldn't decipher it honestly through the webinar and everything. In a profession where more metrics are being added and supports are being adjusted in an area that is putting up multiple occupancy apartments and condo buildings just a few blocks from here, how do we expect our children and educators to succeed if we are reducing positions that are facing students? Before we decide to create more positions that are shared between multiple schools, such as the assistant principal positions, I advise to pause, allow additional time, and reevaluate. particularly, again, with the nearing additional occupancy buildings in our downtown. There's much research that supports turnover costs are real and significant. Education is no different, and our students are living in a very significant period in time regarding the coronavirus and that epidemic. In a time where education is also undergoing changes in testing, the changing landscape of ed tech, and things we have yet to even consider, it would be wise to pause on reducing positions that are student-facing and curriculum-related. I hope everyone can reflect on their own educational experiences for a moment as well. I remember when I had a first-year teacher, and I also remember teachers that were counting down the days till their retirement. And I think a value of a varied workforce is very important. I'm also a child of teachers. My mother, my maternal grandmother, maternal aunt, and mother-in-law are all educators, and that has all colored my perspective. I also leave with how can we better support our children in this changing landscape. My son came home delighted a few years ago to learn cursive in 2nd grade. For years, one of the few pleasures of his academic experience outside of PE was continuing writing things in cursive. And with larger class sizes and more things that are being faced on teachers, I think it's important to consider that when you're discussing reductions in workforce. The British legal scholar Naomi Watts talks about the right to play requires a whole society effort. It requires that parents, teachers, and the broader community recognize that children must also have time for play and accept that children must be able to play in the spaces available to them near their homes and in their local community. It requires that urban planners and transportation officials consider children's access to the public space and the quality of its design for meeting children's needs. It also requires that budgets are allocated to support such design, the support of play in schools, and the provision of play services in all settings and community-focused children's and youth work. In closing, it is cliche but true that children are our future. It's also true that children today are growing up far more depressed and anxious that was true decades ago. And research leaves little doubt that this is largely because we are burdening them with too much competition, pressure in and out of school, and failing to accept their right to play. And so I hope that you consider integrating all of those things in your discussions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Rati Vijay. I am on 165 Hobart, and I have a school in Glenwood. I have a kid in Glenwood as well as in Washington. And my question kind of pertains to the middle school, as I have a rising middle schooler pretty soon. And very simple. We talked about the Wellness Week, which was a great segue into my question this evening, which I was very happy about, was, and we talked about, and you mentioned about how we need to introduce kids to these movement and everything early on rather than just getting to the high school and doing it. And we have amazing competitive sports in our high school, which is fantastic, and Millburn High School does really well. I am actually just baffled why we don't have it in the middle school. We have no sports in the middle school. We don't have a team for our middle school. And as a rising middle schooler, it's just one of those things that concerns me. Where there is not a balance, we are not bringing up a balanced kid. Are we not missing out on those 3 years where we need to do that? Or do we need to like just substitute it by rec team or outside clubs and everything, which is fine, but middle school is the right space where formatively a soccer player probably could try volleyball or try some other sport, which they might not be able to try it every time provided the schedule's outside. It also is a time where they can form school camaraderie, learn about representing your school, working in a team, and, supporting your schools and going out and representing them and teaching them all those kind of great athletic stuff, which is they're gonna learn anyways when they get to high school, and might be too much at one time, until like what they said, there are people who are already doing sports outside. So as a parent, I feel like just academics in middle school, so much focus on academics and not having sports, and especially in today's day and age where we really want our kids to be like away from technology, away from their screens, sports is a great answer. And I would love to know if middle schools we can have sports for these kids. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is David Burstein, and I live in West Orange. I wouldn't expect a school district to know how its contract rates compare across 600 other school districts. in the state, that data just doesn't exist in one place, and that's why I started collecting them at pricereflect.com. I wanted to bring a particular contract to your attention, agenda item N3H with Pomptonian Food Service. Under this contract, Pomptonian receives a management fee of 9.53 cents for every dollar of food service sales on top of operating costs. Tenafly's contract with the same vendor sets that fee at 7.35 cents. On Millburn's approximately $1.2 million in annual food sales, the difference is roughly $26,000 a year. Since the contract is for next school year, perhaps there is an opportunity to revisit the rate with Pomptonian before finalizing it. Thank you.
Thank you. If there are no other comments, I'd like to open the floor to board members for discussion regarding the upcoming agenda items. Any questions or comments? Mr. Finkelstein?
This isn't old or new business yet, is it? Sorry, I
No.
don't want to speak out of order.
No, no. Hey, thanks. Ms. Shivani?
So just quickly on item C, what is this? N1C, there's a few expenses for the APSI. Can you provide some color on what that training is? And I mean, it's great, but I just want to understand what it is.
So with the expansion of our AP offerings at the high school, we need to continue to train and build capacity among our teachers. So with more courses, we're going to need more teachers. So we're training more teachers through the through the AP course to give them the ability to teach at that level.
So is this a one-time training, or is this?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Yes, Mr. Casson.
Dr. Diskin, is there any reason why we shouldn't table the food service contract that was just mentioned till the next meeting so we can explore the question that was raised?
So I'm going to defer to Mr. Stars on that.
You can table it, sure. There's not urgency to pass it tonight.
I'd like to do that the proper way.
Would you make a motion then to exclude it from the
Yeah, I would
vote?
like to make a motion to exclude it from the vote and then.
Do I have a second? Thank you, Ms. Longley Richards. All in favor? Do we just do it by? Perfect. Any other questions or comments before we move on? Ms. Shivani?
Just one correction. This 1D, I think the vendor name is Harberson. It's misspelled. So we can, I guess we can still vote on it, but we might need to make the correct spelling. It's Harber. It's Sarah.
Yeah, it's spelled correctly here.
Yeah, but it's spelled incorrectly in 2 places.
Yeah, no, you're right. I see. Yes.
Yeah. So.
We can make that correction. Any other questions or comments? Excellent.
Question?
Yes, Mr. Finkelstein.
I guess just along the line of I guess it's directed at Mr. Stars. I don't know how much data there is out there in terms of the fees that multiple districts are paying, kind of similar vendors that come up over and over again, and the district's ability to just generally negotiate price with, it's good to know your comps sometimes, otherwise you're kind of in a vacuum.
Yeah, and for school districts, we have to do a process. So this is like on the agenda was the second renewal for this vendor, which means probably 2 years ago you went out for bids, and I don't know what I wasn't here. I don't know what you received, and then you awarded to this vendor, and they have, specifically in this case, they're limited to by what their increase can be each year with their contract. So this was, I think it was a 3%, which was their allowable increase.
But just generally, sort of, sorry, just as a follow-up, just generally when we're negotiating contracts with vendors, is our normal process to get comps? And I guess we get bids in, but do we know what other districts are paying? Do we know if we're getting good bids?
That's what I was actually going to opine on, is if I remember correctly, because I actually was at that meeting, that we only had one bidder. So they were the only ones. So we did not have anything to compare to or to compete with, since there was literally one bid.
Yeah, so for professional services and the like, typical county BAs normally put it out there as what rates are they're paying. So we can get that easily, yes.
Great, thank you.
I didn't mean that wasn't a good question. It was a great question. It was just with that one specifically, that one really stood out to me in the past. Any other questions or comments? Don't want to miss anyone? Great. Okay. Then if we may start with instructional agenda items. May I have a motion and a second to approve instruction items 1A through 1E? Mr. Lawrence, Mr. Farashudin? Any discussion? Yes, Ms. Longley-Richards.
I just wanted to point out that the Unified Music course is one of the ones the curriculum being revised, and that it's the first time that this is coming back, and I feel that just wanted to point out that that's a really important program at the high school. So just wanted to highlight that one, Unified Music.
Excellent, thank you. Any other comments or discussion? All right, roll call, please, Mr. Stars.
Mr. Finkelstein?
Yes.
Ms. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Longley-Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Bigman?
Yes.
Mr. Casson?
Yes.
Mr. Farashudin?
Yes.
Ms. Shivani?
Yes.
Ms. Speltz?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Stars. Personnel agenda items. May I have a motion and a second to approve personnel item 2A and 2B? Mr. Finkelstein? Ms. Shivani? Any questions or discussion? Thank you. Mr. Stars, roll call, please.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Longley-Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Bigman?
Yes.
Mr. Casson?
Yes.
Mr. Farashudin?
Yes.
Mr. Finkelstein?
Yes.
Ms. Wong?
Yes.
Ms. Shivani?
Yes.
Ms. Speltz?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second to approve business items 3A through 3G and 3I through 3J? I think I have that right. Mr. Bigman, Mr. Farashudin, any questions or discussion? Excellent. Mr. Stars, roll call, please.
Ms. Longley-Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Bigman?
Yes.
Mr. Casson?
Yes.
Mr. Farashudin?
Yes.
Mr. Finkelstein?
Yes.
Ms. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Shivani?
Yes.
Ms. Speltz?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second to approve policy item 4A? Ms. Shivani? Ms. Longley-Richards? Any discussion or questions? Excellent. Mr. Stars, roll call, please.
Ms. Longley-Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Bigman?
Yes.
Mr. Casson?
Yes.
Mr. Farashudin?
Yes.
Mr. Finkelstein?
Yes.
Ms. Wong?
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence?
Yes.
Ms. Shivani?
Yes.
Ms. Speltz?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Stars. I now open the floor to old business. Mr. Finkelstein?
I guess it's our old business, but just, I know we're not responding, but just because we're talking about technology, I thought the AI question was a good one, and just to ask if Dr. Disk and Mr. Connolly could look into the AI use on the Chromebooks now. I have no idea if you can bring up ChatGPT on the web or Claude or anything like that, but that would seem to be an obvious one to shut off if it is in fact being allowed on the Chromebooks, which I would hope not.
So, Mr. Connolly, just to address that, we did in the beginning of the year have our AI framework, which again was intentional, purposeful, and meaningful in how to use AI. So we will look into those different programs, but we have already started the work on using it and trying to teach students how they use it and for what purposes they use it, should they need to. So we'll tie that into the AI framework and look at what access they have. I do not believe they have, believe they have appropriate access to only specific areas and specific sites for that, and it is not just a general carte blanche open access to internet.
If I remember correctly from Ms. Nidek's presentation at the high school PTO and I believe here, the students on their Chromebooks do not have access to those. There are specific state requirements about the how private it is and age restrictions, and there are a whole list of things. And ChatGPT especially and Claude do not at all in any way, shape, or form meet those restrictions. I believe there's a Google Classroom version that is quite limited and specific, and that is what they, at the high school level at least, that I believe they have some access to.
Yeah, and Mr. Connolly can add a little bit more on that. But when we think about our AI framework and the presentation that Ms. Nidek had presented, is that we are very cautious about what we allow our kids to use, and they are not just given like full access to the internet. Even YouTube and those kinds of things are highly locked down. And we do have what's called a gaggle alert, that should they be looking at something that is inappropriate, it alerts us immediately to take a look at those kinds of things. And we actually have our district watcher back here, who is very attuned at making sure that our students are not accessing sites that are inappropriate.
Yeah, I just want to add to that we have limited integration through the AI, through the softwares that we purchase, so like through our bigger platforms. And if you recall, when we did the presentations, we actually did not go with a district-wide, like a Magic School or any of those, because we were not ready for that. And we were a little cautious, and in hindsight, 2020, I think we made the right call, just using the limited access to to the AI through the web, to the platforms that we already have in place, which is a very controlled use of AI for our students on those platforms. So, and those platforms all meet the right requirements that they need to for school use. So we did not enter into those other relationships.
I also do want to mention that the New Jersey standards involve the use of technology, and they have on their website what is appropriate to be used at each grade level. And so for those that are interested in taking a look at what we are required to do according to the New Jersey Department of Education within our standards, that might also be helpful. There's different ways in which we can do those things, and we don't have to use it all the time, but we are required as part of our curricular responsibility to adhere to the New Jersey student learning standards.
Mr. Casson?
So following up on Dr. Diskin's point, I think that means the advocacy that we've been hearing over the last couple of sessions to the Board of Ed may be well addressed to the state level standards, right? Your state senator and congressman and the like, because they're the ones who really set the standards for technology usage.
Ms. Shivani?
So thank you, Mr. Casson. I was actually going to say something along the similar lines, is that obviously we need advocacy and we need to do what we can, but until the technology companies are regulated, until the edtech companies are regulated in a way that, I mean, YouTube's only incentive is to increase viewership, to keep you engaged. Edtech game companies, their only incentive is to keep the student playing the next level and the next level and the next level. And we are doing the best we can, and I know the staff is doing the best that they can, but until there's regulation from the top, we're just going to be playing whack-a-mole, and we're going to keep it just takes resources on our side as well. So I think the advocacy should also happen at the state and maybe federal level. Again, for responsible, for the companies, for the tech companies to be more responsible in how they're presenting to students.
Thank you. And I think a great point that Dr. Diskin, or I think it was Dr. Diskin or Mr. Connolly brought up in a previous meeting was that at this point, I think it's third grade, students are required to take the NJSLA on a Chromebook. And so there are certain skills and things that you want to develop. So that's part of that thoughtfulness, is making sure that the kids, we're not disadvantaging them in that process.
And just, keeping in mind that not all screen time is equal, right? So I think we need to keep that at the forefront of this conversation, that we certainly can do more and look at our practices, but there are screens in front of students all day long, not just at school. And if you look at some of the research supports that it's screen time is not equal, right? And so that we need to be mindful where our students have devices, not only in school, but out of school.
And to that point, I know we talked at governance and probably program about, having some, more family engagement type programs. And I know that the PTOs and the Ed Foundation and those are going to help to support those. But it's not just a school, component. We can do what we can on our end, but, you're not wrong. I mean, we have students that are, using devices and things like that outside of school at a very young age, and they see others doing the same. So I think it's it takes a village, right? And so if we're going to change perception and we're going to change culture and we're going to change that, it has to be an all-encompassing effort.
Thank you. Any other old business? New business? All right, let's do our second round of public comments. Same rules as before. Please state your name and address for the record, and they'll be limited to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, I have one more. Rati Vijay on 165 Hobart, a kid in Glenwood and a kid in Washington. This time my question is about the elementary school, and it is specifically about Odyssey of Minds. I have been part of Glenwood. I have done Odyssey of Mind. I have judged Odyssey of Mind, everything. But this year we've been notified we can't use PTO's insurance for the kids to practice at school, or they won't be able to also use the school's name to participate. Is that something that is new? Where that is coming from? Why we are not able to take part? This was something that was very dear to Glenwood specifically, and this was something that was definitely talked with Dr. Diskin and Mr. Connolly last year when all the principal changes were going on, and we were promised that Glenwood was not going to get rid of Odyssey of Minds. And right now we have a whole bunch of third graders who have no clue what really is going to go on for next year. So as somebody from a parent community as well as from the PTO side, just wanted to get some clarification. I have sent a long email regarding the question, so you guys can take your time and tell me, but this is something that is very, very dear to the Glenwood community, and it would go a long way for you guys to just take a look and tell us why we are not able to use it, why kids cannot use Glenwood name, and why we are not able to use the PTO insurance for the kids to practice at school. So, thank you.
Thank you. If there are no other comments. Oh, okay.
Neil Guth, 9 Bailey Road. I had a question because I was talking to my daughter today about the NJSLA, and she told me about something called, there was an adaptive test. And I'm like, well, I mean, I haven't been so diligent this past year with my daughter regarding school, so I had no idea what it was about. And she was explaining to me, and I was like, wow. I said, I was almost thinking that children get different tests for like the 6th grade or the 7th grade, or they all get the same test? Because it seems like it's different. And this is the first time I've heard of adaptive, or did that happen in the 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade? I don't ever remember hearing about adaptive. Is that the right word? Yeah, so was this the first year for this? I probably got 25 emails maybe, but I didn't see them probably. If it was
Madam
explained.
President, I know we don't typically answer questions, but I think this is one
It's
that we
important
can
with the
answer.
timing, with the
So,
timing, that's
Mr.
very
Connolly,
important.
can you take this?
Yeah, so the NJSLA-A is the adaptive version. It was launched this year. We did do a presentation on this several board meetings ago, I believe, where we talked about this with our testing coordinator. There was information that came out in various communications. I think the building principals sent it out. There may have been a communication that went out from the district. But to answer your question, yes, the test is adaptive. So as you answer your questions, it chooses a path for you based on the difficulty of the question to assess standards. They are standards-based questions, so the question might be a little bit different, but it's assessing standards and level and proficiency and where you are. This is new to the state. I'd liken it to what we use with NWEA, which is our map testing, which has been an adaptive format for as long as I've been in district, which is 10 years. So it's not a new concept, but it's definitely new to the state testing for New Jersey.
But, okay, so basically, but say there's a student that's
So if I can interrupt real quick, so we usually don't answer right there. So if you would like more information, I recommend maybe possibly emailing Mr. Connolly, and he can get you more
Email
information.
me, we'll connect you with our
Absolutely.
coordinator.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you. Any other questions? All right, I'd like to open the floor to board member comments. Mr. Fairshooten.
Yeah, on the NJS, I know we don't respond, but isn't that a state mandated test? Millburn has no control over what kind of test it is, adaptive or not. The state gives us a test and we just have to administer it. Is that correct?
Correct. So the NJSLA has, in the past, it was named lots of different things, but it is now called the New Jersey Student Learning Assessment Exam. There have been other ones that have sort of like ages ago, we had NJ Ask. We had lots of PARC. It was called PARC. We've had lots of types of assessment, and this is mandated by the state of New Jersey. So the NWEA that Mr. Connolly spoke of is actually a nationally normed test. So it looks at our students in that adaptive way on how are our students doing with their peers across many places. So, but New Jersey requires it. If we do not get it, it is sometimes tied to federal funding. So we are mandated to give it.
Other tests are also have become adaptive, like the SAT is now also adaptive, right? Yeah. Okay. Any other board member comments? Mr. Finkelstein.
I just want to thank Dr. Disk and Mr. Connolly. Like the last few board meetings, we've had these wonderful discussions, and I know some people in the community are asking for transparency, and I don't know if everybody watches the entire board meetings, but I think there's responsiveness to just comments 2 weeks ago on the technology side. There's discussion among board members, and I just think it's really healthy for the district, and people can watch the replays, obviously, but I hope people are feeling the transparency and the work effort that's being put in by the board members and committee and administrators as well, because it's really great.
Well said. Well said. Any other comments? All right. Could I have a motion and a second to adjourn? Ms. Longley Richards, Ms. Shivani, all in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. Have a good night.